morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my friends, wherever in this world you may be, or whichever dimension you may be coming to us from. And if it's the 11th dimension, what the hell are you doing here? You got nothing better to do on a Tuesday afternoon, even though time is a construct and has no meaning where you are because of dilation and everything else, and you're probably swallowed up by a black hole. 8 dimensions ago, you took a left turn. The GPS took you in a different direction, but you had a whole thing with it. So you switched to Waze, and then you got pulled over by a cop because the Waze wasn't working. And now we're just talking about being pulled over by cops in different dimensions. So we're off to a great start. My friends, I want to welcome you to another episode of Joe Blow Tarot, the show where we don't have a tagline. There's no tagline. There's none. We're just hanging out, doing tarot readings. And today, we're going to do tarot readings for you. Unnecessarily dramatic point. Going to do it again, though. For you, the creepy smile. And for the situation which befalls us in the world today, which is the flare-up, the conflagration of hostilities between the nations of Israel and Iran. Everyone's wondering what the hell is going to happen next. Where is this going? Well, lucky for us, we have the cards to tell us. So if you're hanging out with us today in the comments and you want a free tarot reading, drop some numbers in there. First, drop one number between 51 and 70, and drop 3 numbers between 1 and 50. So once again, if you're hanging out today on the live stream, if you want a free tarot reading, you drop one number between 51 and 70 and drop 3 numbers between 1 and 50, and you will get that reading. In the meantime, I'm going to figure out what's going on in the Middle East. Let's talk about this. Now, I'm not going to go through the cards and do the whole thing because, frankly, I don't trust myself to draw the right cards for this situation. It's a little bit above my pay grade, but I'm going to outsource it to the AI who I do trust, my dear friend, Gemini. And this is the beauty of being an Android guy. First and foremost, I get the Lord's superiority over all of you iPhone people. So, and second, I get AI to give me the meaning of it all. So without further ado, let's just ask Gemini what the numbers are, and we'll go right to it. Good morning, Gemini.
Good morning. Ready to draw those numbers?
I'm always ready to draw the numbers. Let's rock and roll. Okay, first, I would like you to give me a number between 51 and 70.
Okay, the first number is 63.
Okay, 63. Thank you for that. Ooh, yeah, this is a very, very apt card. Okay, next, Gemini, I would love for you to give me 3 numbers between 1 and 50.
Okay, 3 numbers between 1 and 50 are 12, 37, and 45.
Okay. 12, 37, and 45. Is that correct?
That's right. 12, 37, and 45. Anything else I can help you with?
That'll be all for now, Gemini. Once again, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help. Let me know if you need anything else.
Will do. I love the accent. Gemini is a delight. I'm telling you, Gemini is just an absolute delight to chat with. Now, Gemini would sound a lot different if it were programmed to sound more like, one of my old uncles from Staten Island. Gemini is coming back at me like, listen, you want numbers? Stick your numbers up your ass. But we're not doing that because we have a very polite Gemini here today. Okay, so the first number that Gemini drew, which is the main theme of what's happening with the Israel-Iran conflict, is 63. So what is the 63 theme? Remain calm. This is totally normal. You telling me AI doesn't know? AI knows. Here we have the picture of a flight attendant holding up a little plane while the plane is on fire, and the flight attendant is telling everybody out there, remain calm. This is totally normal. Well, I think the entire world right now is in a situation where they're looking at these two lobbing all kinds of fun stuff back and forth in each other. And frankly, this could be settled by a water gun fight, but they want to be a little more kinetic. So let them. Remain calm. This is totally normal is ultimately saying, yeah, this is a hellstorm right now that they're both engulfed in. But the theme of it is stay strong, stay grounded, and stay centered. This is a message for all of humanity, but particularly the two active parties who are involved in this little tiff. And I say little tiff, not to be dismissive, but I say little tiff because if you look at the actual active conflicts around the world, Myanmar, Burkina Faso, got that on the third try. Congratulations. Sudan, all the rest of them. This is actually basically a slap fight and a water gun fight compared to the rest of them. So this little tiff is something that has a lot of people really anxious, has a lot of people on edge, wondering where it's going to go. But this card is saying to remain calm. This is totally normal because in the weird world that we're in of this dense experience, it actually is totally normal. So keep calm and carry on. People of Iran, people of Israel, people of the world, keep calm and carry on. Now, let's go through the progression of this conflict and let's see what we're actually dealing with and what we're actually talking about here. So we begin with the first card that Gemini drew, which was the past card. So where did this whole thing originate? Of course, that would be card number 12, that bitch at work. Naturally, this is the card of enmity. This is the card of like that person who's trying to destroy you. In 1979, the Islamic Revolution came to Iran, and the Ayatollah and all of his mullahs, all of his underlings, or as they say where I grew up, the underbosses, they all came together and said, you little Satan, you got to go. They had an eye toward us, like, you great Satan, not too fond of you either. You got to go too. We're going to do a little thing with your embassy. But it was a little Satan first, and the little Satan was, you got to go. So is that bitch at work? Somebody got hired, like, no. I'm going to destroy her no matter what. She's got to go. She's got her own stuff going on, which is why she wants to destroy that other woman at work. But ultimately, that bitch at work is a card about nemocide. It's a card about enemies. It is the card about some force out there that sees your existence as a mortal threat to them. And then over time, that becomes a reflective mirror. And then Israel grew to see Iran as a mortal threat to them, sparking this latest round of hostility. So around and around and around and around we go. But that brings us to the present moment in the conflict. Now, where are we now? We are with card number 37, which is the kids who wish they had ADHD too. Now, what does that even mean for this? Like, how could the kids who wish they had ADHD too have anything to do with the conflict in the Middle East? Well, let's first talk about this card and what it represents. This is the card of kids who look at the ADHD kid and say, that's who I want to be. That's where I want to be. That is what I want to be. I want to be free. I want to be light. I want to be joyful. I want to run around and not have a care in the world and just be a kid. And this speaks to the citizenry of both these countries, not the leadership, but the citizenry. If you look at the citizenry of both of these countries, these are people who just want to ultimately be kids again, to have fun again, to be free again, to not have to worry about jets buzzing their capital and ballistic missiles landing in their neighbor's yard. Although if their neighbor's an asshole, then, solves two problems at once. But ultimately, you have citizenries here who just want to be kids again, who just want to be free again, who want to be joyful again, who want to be expansive again. And they see the ADHD kid. In this case, this could be people in a non-war zone like Switzerland or Japan or Long Island. Switzerland or Japan. And they look at them and they say, I want to be like that too. Why can't I also have that? Hell, they can look at their own backyard. They look at a country like Oman is just kind of sitting there, just kind of chilling in their robes. Archaic architecture, having a great old time. Not bothering anybody. Nobody's bothering them. Just doing great. Like, why can't I be like that too? So you have two countries whose populations are ultimately in a situation where they look at the rest of the world and they say, I just want to be like that too. I want to be free and fun and joyful and expansive, but they got jets buzzing them and they got TV stations blowing up and missiles flying. They got all this stuff going on, but ultimately in their hearts, they just want to be kids again. They just want to be free. That's where they are right now. Let's see where they're going. Number 45. This is the card of the future. A card that says, the boomer who can't turn on a computer. What the hell does this even mean? What does a boomer not being able to turn on a computer have to do with Israel and Iran sending fun stuff at each other? It has nothing to do with it except for the fact that it has everything to do with it. And here's why. The boomer who can't turn on a computer is the card of archaic being, is a card of being a relic, and the card of having to move into the future. into what is coming, into the world that is birthing. The boomer who can't turn on a computer came from a time when we lived in an analog world. And if you wanted a date, you couldn't go on a freaking app. You had to go out into the wild and harass somebody on the subway like a normal person. But now they have to do everything in a digital world, and they're being dragged into it. And we have countries here that are fighting a conflict, which is actually a very new conflict. But the reality is this is an ancient brotherhood, an ancient sisterhood, an ancient partnership. The people of ancient Persia and the people of ancient Israel were dear allies, and they were dear friends, going all the way back to the time of Cyrus the Great. These were the best of friends, not even frenemies. These were the best of friends. And that relationship continued through the millennia, all the way up to 1979. And it will once again, because once the boomer comes into the 2020s and learns how to turn on the damn computer, they will be able to bring all of their experience and all of their wisdom and all their knowledge into the future, into this modern day that we have created, into what is going to come, into the world that is birthing before our eyes. This card is saying that ultimately, these two countries will move past this and into the future. They will take a lot of the archaic ways of being, of war and hostility and threats, and they will move into the future. How that will happen beats the shit out of me. All I'm doing is pulling the cards. But this is what the card is telling us. Even though the boomer can't turn on the computer now because it's stuck in an old mentality that's stuck in the 70s and 80s, which is where this conflict was born. It's not where this conflict is going to end, because this conflict will end ultimately. But it won't end in the consciousness that birthed it in the 70s and 80s. It will end when the boomer learns how to finally turn on the computer. Oh, and what a glorious day that will be, my friends. It truly will be. So I'm going to give a chance here. If anybody is in the live chat, would like to have a live reading, drop a comment, say what's up. I'm going to hang around for another minute or two to see if anybody's there. But if not, if you are on Team Replay and you still want a reading, got you covered. Drop some numbers in there too. Drop a number between 51 and 70, and drop another number or three more numbers between 1 and 50, and I will get your customized reading directly to you after the show. And I'm slowing down my speech to drag out that last minute. This is fun, guys. Honestly, I really enjoy the shit out of this. And a couple of weeks ago, I put this on, and somebody came on the show and we did a reading, and it turns out it was a very impactful reading. And I said, well, why don't we do it again and do it again and do it again? And the fun part about this is I believe every single one of these cards can speak to every single one of our situations. So the fun part about it is that we can do this without kind of like the weird mysticism, which is fun. And I like it. I go down those rabbit holes. But for some people who say it's heretical and it's witchy and it's this and it's that, still an opportunity to take a look at a ridiculous card and see how is that speaking to your life? What is it asking you to take a look at? Because each one of these themes is something we can take a look at. And that's enough of my preaching, and it's enough of my soapbox. For anybody who's hanging out there and lurking, doesn't want a reading, thanks for hanging out today. I appreciate you. Anybody who catches this on Team Replay and wants a reading of your own, drop some numbers in those comments. Once again, drop a number between 51 and 70, and then drop three more numbers between 1 and 50. We'll see what the cards hold in store for you. All right, friends. Till next time.